Now that was awesome. Good evening, cowboys, cowgirls, and outlaws. Welcome to the Slick Sixguns Network. I'm your host, Slick Sixguns, and I'm here to provide education, tips, and community for those interested in the Western shooting sports. If you're interested in stuff like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notifications bell so you don't miss anything. Today's episode is sponsored by LeadSmithCustomWorks. Be sure to check them out in the description section of this video. Also in the description section is a link to our Patreon account if you feel like supporting us. Now let's pack our wagons and see what's being discovered out west. A common name for a projectile is bullet, which is derived from the French word boulet, when translated means small ball. Some of the first projectiles to be launched by means of gunpowder, specifically black powder, were the arrow and spear, which dominated the battleground for thousands of years as a weapon that could hit enemies at a distance rather than up close. As the firearm developed, so did its projectile. Rocks were used as they were plentiful and hard, but lacked the necessary destructive power to punch through the armor of soldiers and breach stone fortifications. Even though iron had been around for thousands of years, it wasn't used as a projectile out of cannons until the 1400s. Iron projectiles launched from cannons and small arms were difficult to make as they required extreme temperatures to melt and form, as well as they would cause damage to the weapon's barrel that they were fired from. In the 1600s, lead was starting to be used in small arms. Its advantages were that it had a low melting point, meaning that it could be made by the individual using them, as long as they had the necessary tools. Because it was softer, it also did not damage the barrel, and was therefore more economic to the military that used them. Though relatively soft, it was also heavy, and when fired at high speeds would cause considerable damage to any adversary. These lead bullets, known as musket balls, were round in shape and were referred to as rounds. Wait a minute, hold on. Now that's good information and all, but how are these balls made anyway? This video is meant to show you a particular way how some lead round balls are made, and the making of these products will vary from person to person. As always, utilize proper safety equipment and procedures when doing this process. Due to the extreme temperatures, it is important for the person who is casting lead to wear long sleeves for protection and safety. A Lee 20-pound casting pot is used. A hot plate is used to preheat the molds and lead ingots. The Dutch oven catches the molten lead that runs off the mold. A casting ladle with a bottom pour spout is used. The bottom pour spout is helpful because it allows the user to pour clean lead from the bottom of the ladle. A pocket knife is used to cut beeswax, which is used as a flux to slow down the oxidization process and remove impurities from the alloy. The beeswax being dropped into the melt causes a lot of smoke. The lead has to be fluxed and cleaned every so often, or oxidization will occur and make casting difficult. A spoon is used to remove the dross, or impurities caused from the lead oxidizing from the top of the melt after fluxing. A ladle is submerged into the lead so that it can reach the correct temperature. Once a good temperature has been determined, it is now time to pour the mixture into the mold. The mold has 6 cavities and can produce a lot of bullets in short order if the lead is clean and the temperatures are even. Once the lead has hardened and cooled, it is ready to come out. A puddle of lead forms on top of the mold. This is called a sprue. A thick, healthy sprue is necessary as it ensures that each cavity is continually fed. It may take several casts to ensure the temperature is right to ensure that each round is made without defect. Now hold on there, cowpoke. I feel like I'm about to lose my scalp with all this knowledge, like Custer did at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Let's see how these things handle at the range. First, I pour 15 grains of FFF GoX into my powder measurer, and then pour the powder into each of the 5 chambers of the revolver. Next, I take a round ball and then seat it against the powder charge using the rammer under the barrel. I repeat this step 4 more times. Using Crisco, I coat each chamber mouth generously and ensure that the lubricant is flush with the chamber mouth. I do this for every chamber before capping. Finally, I cap each nipple. My first group was a little high, but generally had a good grouping. After adjusting my point of aim, my second group, aside from the one flyer, was consistently on the bullseye. Overall, these round balls are great, and I recommend them to anyone. Alright, now, let's learn a little bit about the man behind the magic. LeadSmithCustomWorks is located in the state of Georgia, near Callaway Gardens, where it is run by Austin and his family. He comes from a military family and enlisted in the Navy in his 20s. He has 2 young sons who are very involved in their community. His wife volunteers in the community by helping the local Boy Scout troop, coaching a local swim team, and writes novels, all while working part-time. Austin began loading his own ammunition and making his own bullets. He began selling cast bullets through eBay, but has since refined his business to keep up with the sales. Thank you so much, Austin, for contributing to the Western shooting sports community. Stay tuned for future episodes to see how round balls are used in the Western shooting sports.